Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. In today's session, we'll be looking at another interesting aspect of AI agents. In our session of building AI agents with CrewAI series. In this session, we have hierarchical process. What does this mean? So what this means is we're going to be building agents using hierarchical process of execution. So we'll be doing that using a manager LLM that delegates tasks. So think of it like you have a manager that manages a particular, organization, and within that organization, you have different people working under him. Something like that is what we are going to be doing. So this session, sequential is fine. So, I mean, in the previous sessions, session one, if we've been working on sequential order or sequential process of execution for the agents. But the real agents, real agents, when you build real teams, you always have a project manager that reads the work, decides, who is best to handle each task and coordinate the task amongst them. So in that case, hierarchical process, gives Crew the ability to do that. So because we want agent to be able to delegate tasks to, understand what each of the team does and know who handles what. Okay, so the learning objectives for this session are these. So one is, contrast to sequential process that we've been doing so far. We are going to be working with hierarchical, and we are going to contrast both. Then two, we are going to provide manager underscore LLM to the crew. That is, you're going to be having a manager that manages, different agents, in this case. So here we're also going to let the manager choose which specialist handle which task. So that's also be done. Then also we have, decide when hierarchical is worth extra tokens. So look at each of these scenarios as we proceed. So the hierarchical process, like I have said earlier, in a hierarchical crew, you define the specialist and a task, but you don't pre-assign them. So it's just like, you have different tasks, you have the different specialists as well, but you don't assign tasks to specialists. So you leave that to the manager to handle who does what. So a manager LLM reads the task review and review each specialist role and goal and dispatches work. The manager can also be asked, request questions, and synthesize results. So you trade extra LLM costs for adaptive delegation. So yeah, basically, trading, extra LLM costs. I mean, extra LLM API calls, for add coding. You don't want to add code. So you don't want to add code. And the reason is simple. So sometimes you have a complex task. You have a lot of tasks to do. You want to leave, that task to the LLM to do by delegating, who gets what task, by assigning the task, to the agent. And that's one of the flexibility of having an AI agent. We'll not be talking about AI agents if we can just build tasks and then we can, ask an LLM to execute it or pass a tool to do that. Okay, so but the flexibility of the ability to think, to be able to know, understand, okay, I can do this. I mean, the agent looks at the different rules, look at the different tasks, and says, okay, you handle this, you handle this. That flexibility is exactly what we call AI agents, and that's what we are going to be looking at. So you can look at the system architecture where you have the LLM having different, different roles, such as the marketer, the manager, and the developer, and the analyst. So each of them, does something distinct, and they have their task attached to them. So you can look at some of the code anatomy. You'll be looking at hierarchical, be using the Gemini model. We'll be looking at specialists as well, for the agents. We'll be listing them out, when we talk about, in the crew, when we are listing out agents. I've mentioned it that we can have multi-agent systems, and in those cases, we are going to be listing out the agents that we have defined, same as the task as well. So here we are planning a 3-day meal. Okay, so we are planning a 3-day meal plan plus a 3-day workout plan. So the manager decides who handle which task. Okay, look at that. So this is this for your assignment. Then here are some hints. So you use hierarchical tasks when tasks are not naturally ordered. That is when tasks are not, assigned manually. So you use hierarchical tasks to do that, hierarchical process to do that. Then also, given each specialist sharply defined role, manager use role text to decide. So manager uses the role text to decide who handles what. And also hierarchical customer tokens. Yes, because you are not at coding, then you'll be, you'll be having the flexibility of giving the LLM the ability to decide who to call for what task, and that cost token. So that token is the cost of using an AI agent in this case. Okay, then the manager can retry as many tasks as many number of times as possible. So this is also another feature we have for agents on these task cases. So you can you can run the task as many times as you want. Then you have some common errors like we always looked at so far. Then okay, so let's get into coding. Okay, so let's get into coding. So for this particular series, so this is the sixth section, like I have mentioned. Like we always do, the first thing to do when you're writing your code is to import required libraries. So we'll do just that. So these are the dependencies you're going to be using. We'll be using agent task phrase and crew like we've always done. Then we're also going to be importing a file read tool, which was the tool we used in our previous class. And then also for us, we're going to load our environment variable like an API key. Credentials, we are going to be using load underscore .env function to do that. So to start with, we are going to involve the load underscore env function. Then also we define the model we are using. We've always been using Gemini. We've always been using the Gemini model. So here we have it. We have Gemini specify flash. Okay. So now so the next thing now is to define the agents. Define agents. So don't forget, like I said, you're going to be building an agent. You're going to be building a series of agents, each of them with their own responsibilities, with their own roles, with their own goals, and so on. And then we'll be defining tasks as well. But we'll not be putting tasks to agents. So we'll leave that to the manager to do, and then dedicate the task and then run whatever task that we have. So yes, that's basically what we are going to be doing now. So the first thing you are going to do, like you've always done, is to define the agents. And in this case, we are going to be having three agents. You are going to be having the marketer agent, the developer agent, and then the finance analyst agent. Each of them, playing their own roles. So to start with, the marketer agent. Okay, so this is that for the first agent, so which is the marketer agent. The role is marketing strategist. The goal is to create a marketing strategy. And then the backstory is you're a marketing strategist, you're an expert in launching new products. So that's the backstory we are given to the LLM. Then, the LLM you're using here is Gemini, and then verbose equals true, so you can see the outputs of the thoughts. Then the next thing we are going to be having here is the developer agent. So don't forget, we are going to be having three agents here. The first is going to be the role. So here you'll see tech lead. Okay. Then go. So then we have the backstory. Okay, so yes, this is also it for the developer agent. So developer agent's role is a tech lead. He's going to be supervising software development, for this task. And also the backstory is it's a tech lead and is an expert in planning software development. Okay. So now the third agent that we're going to be building is the finance analyst agent. Okay. Okay, so yes, that's it about the agents we are creating. We've created the three agents we need to, the marketer agent, developer agent, and then finance analyst agent. So each of these agents, you can see they have their different roles, their different goals, and their different backstories. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to build, to define the tasks that we are going to be having. Okay, so I want us to look at this task. So this is the first task, which is the marketer task. So here you can see create a 3-point go-to-market strategy for a new food delivery app in Lagos. So the expected output is a 3-point go-to um, strategy for a food delivery app in Lagos. So you can see that is the first task, for marketer. And the next task is, the developer task. So, of course, you have the description, just like you have it in the previous one. So here you have, okay, so here again is expected output. The expected output is the 5 core features needed to build an MVP for a food delivery app. So then don't forget the next thing is the agents, which we have developer, right? So that is that for the second task. So then for the third task, we have the finance analyst task. Okay. Description. So the next is the expected outputs. So we have a month. Okay, so this is the third task. So after building the tasks and the agent, the next thing we are going to be doing is to use Crew to bring all the tasks and the agents together. So to do that, we are going to be doing this. Okay, so for the agents, what do we have? We have marketer, developer, and finance analyst. So just put that here. Marketer. Okay, so here are the agents for the tasks. Marketer task. Okay, so these are the tasks. And the next thing is the process. Like, how do we run this? So here we have okay, we imported process. Oh, capital P. Is it capital P or small p? Guess it's capital P. Okay. Now the next thing is the LLM again. Oh, so we are going to add the manager, sorry. Manager LLM, which is also the Gemini model we have. Okay, so the next thing is to pass that into results. So okay. Okay, so here we have this. Okay, so let's check again. The agents, the tasks, description and expected outputs, and the agent itself. Then we have the crew. Okay, so I think that's okay. Okay, so here we are going to activate okay, then we run this. So crew underscore class 6 plus PYC. Let's see. So let's wait for its outputs as it runs. Okay. Well, oh, so this is an internet related issue. But yes, you can see you can see the output, right? Yeah. So you can see the output. Let me try to run this. I don't know why it's showing this, but let's wait a bit. I guess this is an internet related issue. So you can see it's trying to establish a new connection that's really related to the network. So let's just do it. So if you are running this, I don't expect you to have this error if your internet is fine. Okay. So it's telling me I've exceeded my quota rates. Okay. Okay. The internet is fine. I really don't think you should have that issue. Let's try running it again. Okay, so it's still showing the output the same way. But yes, that would have been the response from the agent. So, so let me try to change my network to see something change. Let me try to change my network. Let's see something changes from here. Oh, sorry, that's an error. That's not supposed to be. Just be having 311 here. Yeah. So yes, the network issue still persists. Okay, so yes, you can run it on your end. I don't think you should have this particular network error. It's responding actually, but just that I mean the formatting is not right, and then I think there's some network issues. So yes, you should not be having this particular issue if you are running it on your end. If you are running it on your end. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this class.